Lumps of rock and Reiki. How does that work? I mean, how can all these old rocks in the earth, when they come out, go and help you with Reiki? For example, look at this old big old beauty here. Lovely piece of selenite right there. How's that going to help with Reiki? Well, these crystals have got properties that can certainly make a difference. And I think today's video, it's been asked for by the community, is crystals and Reiki. So I'm going to come up with a few ideas for you. And as always, if you've got your own beliefs or own ideas that you can think of, oh, Gary, you never actually said that one, drop them in the comments because um, sort of like sharing your knowledge with me and everybody else is really what this is all about. So I'm going to come out and come up with 9 uses for little beauties like this. So as always, let's go for it. And I have my trusty little board with all these little things on what we're going to be covering. And I'm going to go through these one by one. So I've got a little sneaky look for you. And let's go. So, those who are aware of crystals may well know that you can actually do crystal healing. So, crystal healing, the way I've been taught, and there are many variations, but you would place the crystals on each chakra. If you're not aware what chakra is, it's like a kind of an energy center. And then we work with taking away certain energies and then pushing in the nicer energies, for want of a better word. So there's some crystals we use to remove and some to boost. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that because that's a completely different subject. But this is the premise of kind of like crystal healing, is to, like, sort of like sort your chakras out, for want of a better word. We can go deeper, of course, and use past life healing, for example. But in this instance, I'm just going to go for a bog standard chakra cleanse. So you take away the rubbish and then you use some crystals to boost the energy. Now, how does Reiki work with that? So it's important that when you do the first part, we don't do any Reiki at all. But when we start boosting, connect with that beautiful energy, see where the crystals are on the body, bring that Reiki in, and let's charge up that energy system. It is more to it than that. It does sound dead simple, and in a way, I suppose it is. But obviously, when your intuition comes in as well, you'll be just like when you do your Reiki, you'll maybe shown insights on where to work. So that's number one, those who do crystal healing. So number two, let's see. Something I don't do, to be honest with you, but it's worth covering, I feel. It's like make your own crystal grid. So imagine, I'll just go down here, and there's a few crystals there, as you can see, that I've got. If I wanted to, I could make like a little crystal grid, set my intentions to that grid, and kind of like and and some would leave it at that. But we're working with Reiki here. Why not have your crystal grid, your intention, what you're looking for, be it abundance, wealth, love, career, holiday even, and then send your Reiki on top of it. It's like, hey, universe, this is what I'd like to manifest in my life. Can you help me with that? Send that energy into the crystal grid. And I'm actually going to appeal to all those who do work with crystal grids, because I'm sure there's some of you out there. What's your ideas? I'd love to hear how that all works with you. But yeah, for sure, put your grid out. Maybe you have some sacred geometry symbols or something. You could put that on there just to help you align properly, and then send that beautiful energy out into the universe and into your life. So there we are. That's number two. Nice simple one there. The third one, and it's a quite obvious one, and it's a really simple one. Charge your crystals. How would you do that? So here we are. One lump of selenite, a nice selenite tower, so we call that. A bit of like a little church, isn't it, with a steeple. So let's imagine we connect with Reiki. You could either hold the crystal like this, like in a prayer. I would say hold it to your heart and just allow the Reiki to come through and just make it your intention. You could just say a simple affirmation like this. I'd like to charge my crystal with this beautiful Reiki energy to the highest vibration that I can, please. And then just hold that crystal for as long as you wish. Now, I'm not going to hold this obviously for 5 minutes because you would get very bored watching me just holding the crystal. But you get the idea. It's like you can hold that, and it's like, again, with these little thumb stones, you can do the same kind of thing. You can put your hands over the top, whatever, maybe your dominant hand over the less dominant one, and just send Reiki in like that. Or again, hold it into your heart. Whatever feels right for you. You know, this is not Gaza saying you must do it this way. This is you working how you feel is right for you. And that for me is the perfect way of charging up your crystals. And then, of course, if you're doing crystal healing, for example, you've boosted your Reiki crystals before going in, and going in to do the healing session. So, or even just the, say, for example, rose quartz for creativity. If you're going to do something, and you can then have that on the side, all charged up as you're writing away or drawing or whatever you're doing. See, there are so many potentials you can go with this. So that's another one that we can go for. Number 4, self-healing with crystals. So again, let's imagine I've got stomachache. I've got real horrible stomachache. Imagine I've got this lovely bit of citrine here. I could, if I wanted to, send myself some self-healing. And what I would do is just do my normal self-healing as normal, you know, your Reiki routine. If you've got a big crystal and you think, well, I can't put both hands on me, we can always do it with intention, but maybe just use one hand. So you would go through your self-healing routine, through your heart chakra, and then dodgy stomach, I've got my citrine holding over there, and then I'm just asking for a little bit more extra help with that kind of energy. Trust your intuition. For example, the throat, you might be drawn to use lapis lazuli, for example. I think I do have some here. So I may want to hold that there as I do my self-healing, for example. Just trust your instincts of what feels right for you. Come from here because that won't lie to you, and go with that. You know, this is a nice little thing we can try, and please let me know your results as you go through those little processes and how that changes for you. So always like, look to see, they're like tools we can use. Now, number 5, now I am going to put a warning on this one because this is not for the faint-hearted, but you know those who really want to delve into dream work, for example. Now, what you can do is possibly use amethyst as you go to sleep. Now, the warning is as follows. When we use amethyst on sleeping, it can elucidate some pretty wild imagery. Now, that may sound like fun, but it can also, it's like, you could be stepping into maybe imagery that's not very nice. So this is not for the faint of heart. So if you're not prepared to have those kind of like nasty images, then don't do it. But if you are one of those ones who are thinking, oh, I'm going to be hardcore, I'm going to do this, well, you can do this, but I am giving you a warning that it can elucidate kind of like crazy sort of like imagery and stuff. So be aware of that, how I would do that. And I'll be honest with you, it's not something I do, but I'm giving you ideas. You could charge up your pillow, for example, just before you go to, or your bed, maybe yourself, and just make that connection. Say, I'm ready to work on a psychic level to see what's shown for me, and then it's down to you what you do with that imagery. Um, but again, I just want to reaffirm once more, so don't come running back to me, oh, Gary, you gave me nightmares, because I'm telling you now, this could happen. So you have been warned. To be forearmed is to be forewarned. But it's certainly something that you could, if you wanted to, you could look into. And I'm sure there'll be those of, yeah, I'm doing it. Good luck to you. Okay. Another one, number 6. Write intentions under your crystal. So you can have a little bit of paper here. Say, for example, a bit of paper here. Got my lovely little bit of selenite crystal there. Put it on top of my intention. It could be anything. It could be I embrace love, for example. Make it a nice affirmation. Check my last video out if you want some nice affirmations, because I did some there. And then put your crystal on top of that note of paper and then just send Reiki to it for a while. How long is entirely up to you. I would recommend never to go crazy, 2 or 3 minutes, even 5, 10 minutes, whatever feels right for you, and it's then you're just putting that affirmation with some infused with Reiki energy on top of crystal energy. Lift up your vibration. So give that a whirl. And you could, again, you can have as many affirmations as you like. And I think it's important. When we work in this kind of fashion, we enjoy it, we have fun doing it, and then just see what magical little, what can we call it, bonuses we can bring into our life. So that's another idea for you. And remember, if you're thinking, I can't keep up with all the ideas, you can always hit the show transcript button and then just go through and maybe jot these down. Okay, number 7, cleansing your crystals with Reiki. So cleansing your crystals, often we can do that with running under water, for example, or smudging or incense or something along those lines, even drumming, for example, vibration work if you want to, toning. But why don't we use Reiki? When you think about it, when we give Reiki to ourselves, we're giving ourselves a nice cleanse. So again, it's your intention. So here I've got my crystal here. I say, make it my intention to cleanse this crystal, please. Just allow your Reiki to flow for as long as you feel is necessary. Again, I don't think it needs to be too long. You don't have to be there for 20 minutes holding your crystal. 1 or 2 minutes, I would have thought would be enough, depending on the size of the crystal, of course, and just allow that energy. Now, it's important that, if you've got a lot of crystals, you think, oh my God, it's going to take me forever to cleanse these. Maybe just do a couple at a time so that it doesn't become a chore. I'll do a couple today, a couple tomorrow, and so on and so on and so on until you've done your whole set. And just keep the nice vibrate. And then you can charge them up under the moonlight. Always remember, cleanse your crystals first before you charge them up. Otherwise you're charging them up with Lord knows what. You haven't cleansed them first. You've got, especially if you've been doing healing, you could be charging up with the very stuff that you've been removing. We don't want to do that. So yeah, charge your crystals up with a bit of Reiki. Why not just go through and charge through as you feel fit? That's the next one. So after that, very similar lines. So some of us, I haven't actually got any jewelry, crystal jewelry on me right now, but say you've got, and I have had in the past, I see you've got a nice, lovely rose quartz crystal on a necklace. Put the Reiki onto the crystal that's in your hand. So you're sending energy into your jewelry. It's important sometimes because you think about that. If we're, say you've got a nice crystal and you're out about doing your thing, you could be going to places that picking up all sorts of stuff, all sorts of pollution, junk, dirt, you name it. And I'm not just talking on a physical level, but I'm talking on an emotional, spiritual level because you'll meet people that are literally transferring all sorts of energy to you, and your crystal's there absorbing it. So after you cleanse it, do cleanse it first, then charge up your crystal. So your jewelry. So just like before, when I was charging the crystals, same principle. So you have your jewelry in your hand, maybe hand over like that, and charge it up again. Put it to your heart center if you want to ensure that lovely energy is coming through to your heart into that beautiful crystal and work in that way as well. And again, it will just keep your crystals and jewelry in tip-top condition as we go forward. Okay, and the final one, again, it's a pretty obvious one. So, and this is really for mainly practitioners, but of course, for those who are Reiki level 1 or just use it on themselves, it doesn't matter. So you got your healing space, say you've got your dedicated healing space where you do your Reiki. Put some crystals around your room. You know, I try, if it's me, I like to have the nice light vibration ones, so the nice bright colours, so like pinks and golds and yellows and that kind of thing, a nice bright orange, for example, and just work with that vibration of like beautiful high energy crystals around your Reiki room. And as you're doing that, you're lifting up the whole energy of that space. And there you are, and imagine when you're doing Reiki with your client, you can kind of like work with that energy. Now, I can say this, now this is entirely up to you because we are deviating slightly off traditional Reiki paths here. Um, but let's imagine you're working with a client, and for whatever reason, you may feel like, say, use our old friendly little citrine fella here, feel like I need to put some Reiki into their solar plexus, and you suddenly think of that citrine. You think, oh, should I put that on the body? It's entirely up to you. If your client is happy with you to do so, then I would say yes. But remember, all I would say is you are deviating off Reiki there. So it's almost Reiki crystal healing, for example. So just be careful if you do decide to do that. That don't want you contravening your insurance or anything like that. But I'm saying it's an idea that you can take forward with you. And I'm very much a believer of following your instincts, your intuition. And if you're being guided to do that, then pretty confident that would be the right thing to do. But as always, go in with with all your senses aware of what, potentially you are deviating off of traditional Usui Reiki. But there we are, everyone. Some lovely ideas for you. And if you do find that useful, please, please, please do comment. I love comments. I love to interact with you guys. At this moment, I'm a small channel, so I will always respond, unless it's a troll. I mean, even then, I'll probably respond to a troll. If you're thinking this is a big load of rubbish ever, you won't be here because you would have disappeared a long time ago. That's fair enough. I'll be honest with you. Once upon a time, I had the same beliefs. It's only after I started working with it, I see things so differently, which is why I love working in a completely different idea mindset now. And I know these things work. So that's my thoughts for you. Please do share. And, I'd always leave this to the end. If you want to like and subscribe, please do that. The more likes I get, the more it pushes this out there so more people will get this information. And please do, relay the information either verbally or just by sharing this video. Thank you so much for coming along as always, and much love to you all, and I'll catch you at the next one.